I'm Chris Scher, Member Communications Director of the Society of Broadcast Engineers. Welcome to the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web. This is a monthly SBE meeting usually held on the third Monday of the month. The SBE is the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals, with more than 4,000 members, mostly in the U.S., but also around the world. Today's SBE WEBxtra brings us two SBE members who are participating in the SBE Mentor Program. Dustin Hapli and Vokoun are a mentor and mentee, respectively. I'll talk to them about their participation, their mentoring relationship, and more. But before we get into that, I have your SBE member update for June 16, 2025. The next SBE certification exam opportunity at Chapters is in August, but the application deadline for that window has already passed. The next local exam window after that is in November. Apply to take an exam then by September 4th. You can also arrange to take an SBE certification exam at any time via private proctoring. And I mentioned it last month, but the long-awaited SBE Cert Preview update has been released. The new version is entirely web-based, so there is nothing to download or install, and it should work on any platform. More information on SBE certification is online at sbe.org/certification. There are a couple of webinars by SBE on the calendar. ATSC 3.0 Update 2025 will stream June 26th. This will be a non-technical industry report on the state of traditional broadcast and opportunities offered by ATSC 3.0. Madeline Noland is the instructor. And Designing for High Availability from Physical to Virtualized Network Functions streams on July 31st. Ruben Calzadia Sr. discusses system reliability in a hybrid physical-virtual environment. You can always watch all the past webinars by SBE on demand as well. Go to sbe.org/webinars. SBE dues renewals were due on April 1st. If you haven't renewed yet, you're in the grace period. Renew right away or you'll lose your member benefits on July 1st. You can renew online right now at sbe.org/renew. And the 2025 SBE membership drive is complete thanks to all the SBE members who recruited a new member, and welcome to those new members. The recruiters not only helped the society grow, but they earned money off their 2026 dues for their efforts. Each year, the Ennis Educational Foundation Trust offers scholarships to deserving candidates who aspire to a career in the technical aspects of broadcasting. There are 5 scholarships available. Scholarship applications must be filed each year by July 1st. Applicants must complete and submit an application to be considered for the scholarship. You can get more information at sbe.org/scholarship. And the last item, the 2025 SBE Leadership Development Course is scheduled for October 6 to 8 in Los Angeles. Dr. Abram Walton, the founder of Ivory Bridge Group, leads this 3-day interactive workshop. Registration includes all course materials, 3 days of instruction, a certificate of completion, light breakfast items, and classroom beverages. Register now at sbe.org/LDC. And that's your member update for June 16, 2025. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be focusing on some aspects of the SBE Mentor Program, which has been around for several years now. Two of our guests today are two of the participants, one from each side. We have a mentor and a mentee, and I'll introduce them to you now. So the mentor on our program is Dustin Hapli, and our mentee is Vokoun. Welcome to both of you.
Good to be with you.
Hello.
So there we go. So the first thing I'll note on the mentor side is the two of you are not in the same city either, are you?
No, I'm based in Chicago, and Max is out west.
Yeah, I'm all the way in good old Phoenix, Arizona. So that's
yes.
Definitely a bit of a drive.
So obviously the two of you meet virtually quite often. I mean, that's pretty much how you've managed your relationship so far at this point, right?
Yeah, a combination of... go ahead, Max.
I would definitely say so, is going and talking online or over email is how we've been communicating. Hoping to go to NAB next year and actually meet face to face.
Excellent. That'd be great. Well, I'll back up a little bit here. The SBE Mentor Program, I mentioned it's been around for a couple of years now. Suncast, my first slide is a good place to start on this one. It's designed to help broadcast engineers who are new to the field. The program partners a new engineer with a more seasoned professional. This allows the more experienced person to share his or her gained knowledge, both empirical and practical, with someone new to the field. The mentor program provides a means for members to share knowledge and experience, and for the seasoned mentor, it's a chance to give something back. The freshman mentee gets an inside track in some knowledge and understanding. Sometimes it can take years to accumulate that knowledge, so it's a great way to get involved and kind of get a leg up on things. So what does it take to become a mentor or a mentee? Well, for a mentor, and that would be 102 Suncast, you got to be an SBE member. Need you to work in broadcast engineering. It's great if you have 5 years of experience or more. They meet weekly with their mentees, and we hope they have a desire to grow and exhibit a positive attitude. On the mentee side, which is 103, once again, an SBE member working in broadcast engineering, typically fewer than 5 years of experience, and you meet weekly with your mentor. Once again, a desire to grow, have a positive attitude, and hopefully you're open to constructive feedback. So that's kind of the underlying foundation there as to what the program is all about. And Dustin and Max, we're going to come back to you at this point. So let's start off with a simple question. Why did each of you get involved?
Dustin, you want to go first?
Sure. So I think like a lot of people in this field, I learned from an old guy. It was a guy named Mike O'Shea at a public station in Tampa, Florida, WUSF. He was the chief engineer there for 43 years, I want to say. And although I learned some stuff in school and I played with enough things from time to time to be dangerous, I guess you could say, he really took me under his wing and showed me how things should be done, or at least a good way to do things. He taught me a lot about transmitters and antennas and that sort of stuff, which has a big impact on what I do day to day now. So when this program came along, I thought it was only right that I kind of pay it forward in that way.
Okay.
I would certainly not be where I am if it wasn't for him. And so I thought it was only right that I do it for somebody else.
Excellent. What about you, Max? What brought you into the program?
So I want to say what brought me into the program was a desire to know more about the industry and really wanting to get a role as a broadcast engineer, and needing to do that, I wanted to know more info, know as much as I could. And I knew I had researched the SBE, and this was right about when I had joined straight into the mentor program.
Okay.
And I thought it was just a good opportunity to talk to someone that's already well established in the industry and has an idea of what they're talking about. And then I started going to SB meetings as well, and it all just started spiraling forward, and it was definitely good to get more knowledge.
Excellent. Sort of got the cheat codes early on, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So what do you both expect to get or give through the program? What's your personal goals?
Well, I
Dustin.
try to just tailor. Yeah, I try to just tailor tailor it more to what Max needs. So early on, we did talk pretty regularly. As time has gone on, he's proven to be a very much a go-getter, as I think we'll talk about here in a couple of minutes. So it's mostly him saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this or that or whatever. What do you think?" And I'll usually say, "Yeah, that's a great idea." Or I don't think he's come to me with anything that I was like, "Ooh, maybe you don't want to do that." But pretty much, it's just been a back and forth. And I wouldn't say we always meet regularly. A lot of it's kind of as needed. He's progressed very quickly. He's working on building his own production truck. He's doing some some like high school sports broadcasts and things like that, just to kind of get his feet with. And then he finally got hired on at a station there in his market. So it's been a very quick ramp up, I would say, for him.
Gotcha. And you, Max?
Yeah. And I would say I've definitely been looking for, like, if I am doing something, as kind of Dustin said, I'll reach out to Dustin. I'll be like, hey, I'll usually update him on what I'm doing or what I'm about to be doing, kind of like the progression, and just kind of check in and make sure that, hey, am I doing the right thing or not? Am I doing? and as Dustin said, thankfully it's been the right thing more than it's been the wrong thing. So usually just checking in and using Dustin as a good source of truth or guidance has been what I've been looking at.
Cool. So how often do the two of you get together, whether it's phone or conference video like this type thing?
I don't know. It's early on, I would say it was every 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And then lately it's been, prior to this, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks since we've traded emails. I don't remember exactly. So yeah, it kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes he would be working on something where there was more questions, and so there'd be a lot of back and forth. And then there's other times where he's off doing his thing and I'm off doing my thing, and we just kind of touch base when time allows. So I would say for anybody, I know there's a lot of people probably saying, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for this. It doesn't have to be. It's not an all day, everyday thing. It's more of a, we all need somebody we can call or email or ask a question to. So I think there's a lot of people out there who do have time for that. They just think that they don't have time for that, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Exactly.
And do you find, I'm sorry, go ahead, Max. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was agreeing. It's definitely just been it's a good working kind of relationship there, where you can kind of like just ping ideas as they come forward or whatnot. So
great. So obviously a mix of phone, email, video call once in a while. And I guess I don't need to ask the question, what works best? I mean, it's obviously what's at your disposal, and a quick, is a green or blue type thing is an email versus a little more of a detailed explanation. I could see a phone call or something more to it. Have you thought about the geographic distance between the two of you being an issue in any way? Either one of you at this point?
I think there probably are a few things that I could maybe show him or teach him if he was, standing here next to me, as opposed to a ways away. But in general, I would say no. It's not really a hurdle. As you mentioned, nowadays we can do pictures, we can do video. Some of the broadcasts he's been working on, he'd send me like a link to YouTube or something, and I could kind of look through it and go, oh, that looks great, or here's maybe a suggestion or anything like that. So yeah, in this technological world that we live in, I don't think it's been a hindrance, but Max, please correct me if I'm wrong.
I want to say at the start of it, I was definitely worried about it, because I guess I didn't fully understand that I could get paired with someone completely across the country from me. I just thought with the nature of the program that it was going to be someone closer to me. So I was a little worried at the start. But as I talked to Dustin more and I got to understand kind of everything, all the knowledge and different things I was getting at, it was actually almost more beneficial that he was farther away. And the reason for that is because I'm already going to SBE meetings within the state, right? So I can get knowledge from within the state at those SBE meetings, talking to those engineers, but getting a general idea of just broadcast engineering as an industry, I can get that knowledge from Dustin, because I can compare and see how different things are in Chicago versus in Arizona. So,
Sure.
And it's already definitely proven useful a couple of times for Dustin, definitely being geographically distant from me. So it's definitely a good thing, actually.
Sure. Do you have other people that you work with, Max, that are at your various facilities, which with the work you're doing, is there someone else in the engineering department or somebody else that you're able to bounce things off of immediately, or are you kind of running the show in some of the things you're working on?
Oh, for sure. I'm bouncing off. At the station that I'm at right now, K2BK, KPHO, they've been here for a very long time. I want to say that the crew here is really good. There's probably about 6, I could count it, but I want to say there's 6 other engineers on the crew here.
Okay.
And they're all super friendly. I can bounce ideas off of them all the time. And it's a very old station. There's a lot of stuff in here that has changed over the years. And as I'm learning it, multiple stations, it used to be a hub. So going from a hub to 2 stations, there's a lot of different routings and whatnot that have been very interesting to learn. And everyone here has been pretty helpful with that, at least the hands-on learning. So
sure. So has a situation arisen where, Dustin, perhaps you thought bringing in one of the subject matter experts in the mentor program would make sense?
Yeah, there's I don't know if I've hooked him up with one specifically, but Max has been working on building a production trailer that he can take around and do various broadcasts with. I think a lot of it is sports related from what he shared with me. I've worked on TV trucks, but I've never built one from the ground up, I'll admit. So yeah, there's probably been some instances where if there had been someone like that in the fold, we could have hooked him up with. Most of it, I think, has just been kind of, learning the industry and kind of grounding himself and knowing that, hey, my instincts are good and what I'm thinking of doing is the right sort of thing to be doing. I think a lot of it has, he's turned out to be kind of a natural, I guess you could say. So a lot of my work has been pretty easy in that I've just been like, yeah, that's right. You're on the right path. Keep pushing in that same direction. And I think it'll work out well for you. And so far, so good. I think, Max, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from my perspective, at least,
no,
you've, yeah,
it's been good. Being able to bounce ideas off is always a good thing. And going into broadcast engineering and from high school, I've been doing broadcast just at my high school video club, and I was like, I want to do this as a full-time thing whenever I'm an adult and doing all that. So going from that, I had actually joined the mentor program before I got my first full-time job, and it wasn't necessarily in broadcast. It was in AV, a very similar field, but
sure.
I wasn't doing TV. I wasn't working on transmitters. I wasn't going up on mountains, dealing with multiple video routings. It was very simple, like room setups kind of, because I was at a community college, but I had learned a lot of things there, like how to terminate cables and the proper way to run cables and how to work on racks. But going from that to broadcast, I was kind of looking, how do I transition to broadcast from there? And
sure.
Thankfully, Dustin's been there so I can bounce ideas off of how to get into the industry from AV, and initially from without even having a job at all. So
cool. I guess I should probably back up a little bit. I mentioned subject matter expert mentors. There are actually, on the SBE Mentor Program, there are two types of mentor positions. And Suncast, if you could pull up 105, we can talk about those real quick. There's the regular mentor position, which is what Dustin does, and that's the direct pairing of a mentor and a mentee. They're the folks who get together every week, every other week or so, and talk about things. But then we have subject matter expert mentors, and those are people who are perhaps they don't want to take on the task of a regular mentor-mentee relationship, but they'd like to give back in some way. And in addition, they might be really good in something, AM directionals or video over IP or who knows what it is. So for those people who think, I'd like to be involved, but I really don't have time to be a regular mentor and what it takes, by all means, you can always become a subject matter expert mentor and participate that way and give back some of the institutional knowledge you've gained, professional knowledge you've gained over the years, sort of on a as-needed basis. And a mentor can serve in both roles. You don't have to do one or the other. It's a separate application form for the two areas of participation, and Kathy Oros at the SB National Office is in charge of all that. But by all means, if you'd like to be involved in the mentor program but think, gosh, I don't have enough time to do it as a regular mentor, please consider coming on board as a subject matter expert as well, because we can always use the professional insight in that way as well. So, Max, I think we're going to focus on you for a little bit now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your career goals? What do you want to do in life if you grow up? Not when, but if. And what do you think the mentor program might do to help you achieve those goals?
So, from the start, I went into this a little bit earlier. I joined my high school broadcast club my freshman year, and this was 2019 was when I joined. So you can imagine what happened at the end of my freshman year. COVID hit, and
right.
I still continued making the school announcements. I started doing it remotely. Before that, I was doing football games, but I'd come back my sophomore year about halfway through the year. But because of being a part of the broadcast program, I was actually still allowed to go back on campus for a couple of things. So I got a really I was kind of thrust into doing a lot of things myself and with my teacher at the time, just because I was really the only person allowed on campus for all of the school events kind of going on.
The old AV club pass gets you anywhere.
Exactly. And it did throughout the course of high school. But I, from there, kept on kind of gaining knowledge. We worked with a TriCaster, and from there, kept on figuring out, well, how do I get better graphics? How do I want it to look like a real football broadcast? And then it turned into, oh, well, here's a better score bug. Here's a transition stinger. We never had a graphic stinger before. It was just raw cutting. And then it turned into, well, now I'm doing some of the best work at the high school level in this part of Arizona. And then I was like, okay. And then by the time I had graduated, I wanted to continue doing that. So what ended up happening is one of the high schools in our area got a very big video board. And it might not look big in the pictures, and this would maybe be a good time. I think the first picture one that's a picture of the video board, and then I kind of just put EA college football in there, but I was running that video board, and I was running it like a broadcast, like how you would a broadcast, with cuts and stingers and transitions. Replay was what the school really liked. And then from there, that kept me busy while I was trying to figure out, well, how do I do the broadcast thing as a freelance gig going around and doing this.
Sure.
And from there, it kind of evolved into basketball, which that would be image 7. I skipped around a little, but from basketball, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a crew together. I'm gonna do this great thing. And we ended up broadcasting a lot of the basketball games around the state. And that kind of put us on the map for different people noticing us and being able to now go to schools and they know who we are and we can get in there easier. And now I'm at the point where I want to be able to get sponsors to go on to the next stage of that business and make some money and be able to forward the production end of it. And going into that, it was really nice having kind of feedback on. Dustin mentioned it a little bit previously. I would send him stream links for what we were doing, and he would be able to say, "Oh, well, you know," because I've never done a professional basketball broadcast before. I've done it, you know, in stages going up, but he was able to say, "Oh, well, that camera could maybe be zoomed out a little bit, or this camera, if it was, I know some gyms are, you know, smaller or bigger, but if it could get positioned in this way, then," and that helped me be able to provide a better product at that stream level. So
were you a one-man shop on basketball and football, or did you have a crew of camera operators and other people working with you?
So for the video board, and this would be a good time to link back to 3, I was definitely running the whole show. As the director, I was running the whole show. I had 2 camera people with me. But I was doing the graphics, the replay, and the switching. And
wow,
thankfully, there's some really good resources out there with vMix and BitFocus Companion that kind of links everything together so that you can do that. I even had some in stadium sound. So like whenever you're at a football game, with these bigger ones, like the college closest to me is ASU, so I'm going to use that as an example. You go there and they play, you know, hype music or, you know, noises right before kickoff, stuff like that. And I wanted to integrate that. So I have 2 stream decks, actually, one for video and one for audio. Image 5 shows kind of my setup for the video end of it. And this shows I was selecting different cameras, and this was a really big one that I had. I was actually directing 5 cameras for this show because I had linked back with my broadcast club that was here because they were in the same district. Both of those high schools ended up playing each other. So I ended up being able to pull cameras from my old broadcast club and send them my cameras. So I had more cameras to work with here. But this setup allowed me to capture replays. It wasn't perfectly trimmed, but it's one of those things where that's why you hire a replay operators. They can perfectly sit there and trim replays. But in my mind, I would go, that was a 4-second play. I would press -4 seconds and then replay that.
Okay.
And then I would be able to select different angles. to use, and then I would have speed buttons at the bottom. Those orange buttons would replay at different speeds. And I would be able to do playlists for different graphics. So, for example, I have like a seniors button. I would click that, and that would pull up all of the different seniors, because this was senior night for them. So
Sure.
I would click it, and it would pull up graphics for all the different seniors, and then I would be able to switch between those. And then on image 6, I would have all of the different songs, I guess, that I would play, and I had set the times to the most hype part of the song, right? In quotation marks. So that
just play the hook. Yeah, just play the hook.
Exactly. Just play the hook, because you only got 5 seconds to play it. You only got... So I would play that, different sound effects, and the crowd loved it. So it was Wow. It was also really nice getting crowd feedback on stuff that I was doing, because as compared to a broadcast, you don't really get that feedback instantly. So learning and running it like a broadcast, getting that kind of instant feedback from people saying, "Oh, that's really cool," was really good for me to keep improving my craft, at least initially. And thankfully I had the opportunity to do it. And that definitely helped going into basketball, with graphics and different noises and stuff like that I would integrate into the broadcast. So let's see.
How this was in high school?
So this was right out of high school.
Okay.
This was right out of high school. So,
who taught you all this stuff, man?
Well, I'd actually, if I may, I'd like to make a point on that here. So, as someone who grew up with carts and 360 shortcuts and those kind of devices, to the older folks in the crowd, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Max and the rest will have no idea what I just said. But this has been very much a two-way street. You know, as you can see, all of this stuff for him is, oh yeah, I'm going to use a Stream Deck, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I know that these things exist. As a little more old school person, I didn't think to use them in the way that he has. So he's taught me a few tricks through all this in the same way. And as you can probably tell, Max is incredibly motivated and is a real go-getter. So I wasn't kidding earlier when I said I've just had to kind of, gently guide him a little bit left and right. He's taken the ball and run with it in a serious way. And it's not too much to say some of these sports broadcasts he's doing, it looks as good as some of the stuff I've seen from the big boys, who we won't call anybody out by name. But there's this is the future, and to see a young man like Max embrace it and run with it has been very gratifying for me to watch. And I'm not really doing anything other than answering a couple questions and emails every once in a while.
Huh. Wow, that's fantastic stuff, Max. Way to go.
Thank you.
What else you got?
So this is my current
Is
project.
that it? Come on.
No. It's never going to end. And I talked to this about with the truck engineer at the station too. I was like, I'm going to bring my trailer around once I'm done with it. And he's like, well, you better bring it around before then, because you're never going to be done with it.
Yeah.
So if we want to show what I want the trailer to look like, and this was mentioned a couple of times by Dustin, image 10 and then 11 and 12, these are renders of the trailer that I wasn't the one who made this. I'm not as good in Blender. I'm working on it with someone else, but he made the renders, and we had visualized what we want the trailer to look like. And we're going to be I'm working on this right now, and there's definitely more work done that needs to be done on it. Right now, I just have the insulation, the electrical wiring, and the cabling in, which is a good start for sure. But I'm still working on this. And a couple of pictures of the actual trailer itself, 13 and 14. This kind of shows the actual trailer in its current state. Definitely a work in progress compared to the renders, but the renders have actually been very useful, because what we can do is we've scaled it perfectly to where you can put on a Quest 3 headset, and with the AR functionality, it will map it perfectly to where you want it to be. So that has helped us lay out and tape down certain things in the trailer, to where I know the desk needs to go here, the wiring needs to go here, the rack is going to go here, certain things like that. So, and that has definitely been a really fun project that I've been working on, and hopefully it should be done by August, so I can actually get it out on the road and doing broadcasts, and it should look a little bit more complete by August.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's just amazing. Far cry from things that I've built, Dustin. I can't.
You and me both, my friend. Yes.
Wow. Oh, to be a kid again. Don't mean that, in a bad way at all, Max. Don't take it that way at all. That's some amazing work. My hat's off to you there. Your resume makes mine look pretty pitiful.
I'm sure there's way more that over the years than I have. I've just been picking up tricks from everyone else, so and throwing them all together.
That's good stuff, though.
No, it's definitely really fun. It's rewarding too, being able to go out and build all of this, and it's really fun. I'm really expediting the building on the AC unit right now, because in Arizona it's about 110.
Yeah.
So I try and not be out there unless if it's night. So there's a couple of things that I've been working on recent. It was just recently that I got the cabling done. So I had gotten the electrical, and then now I'm doing the cabling. So
okay.
I'm hoping next week I can get the AC unit fixed in, so that we can not be dying in the 110 Arizona heat whenever we're working on it.
Oh, heck yeah! Wow, that's amazing. That's impressive as anything, man. That's pretty good. I'm not sure where we go after this, frankly. So, Dustin, what have you learned from Max? Right?
A lot. That I'm old and tired. No, I think Max is the type of guy that we need in this industry. There's no secret. We've talked about it at length, not just here, but in other places, about how guys are retiring quicker than we can bring them in sometimes in certain cases. So I think running into someone like Max and being paired up to this program, hopefully it's been a benefit to him, but it's also been a benefit to me. And I think it'll be a benefit to the industry in the whole, because we need more go-getters like Max in the world. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, Max, what would you tell other, and I hate to say younger people, it makes us all sound like fuddy-duddies, but the next generation, you came in and you actually touched on something that we at the SBE are trying to get the word out on more, is that the lines between traditional broadcasting and whether it's corporate AV or installed sound and video, those lines are blurring a lot more. In fact, we've introduced a new level of certification because of that. So what do you say to other people who are in your age group that might look at what you're doing and kind of thinking, oh, but broadcast? I don't know.
So it really depends on what facet of broadcast you want to get into. For engineering specifically, just and I'm not paid to say this. Joining the SBE is honestly been the biggest benefit that I got from even getting into the industry, because the only reason that I'm at K2VK and KPHO right now is because I had walked into their office to take the certification exam and talk to the engineers that were already here. So, and being able to network with engineers across the state too has helped. So being able to go through those certification exams too gives you a baseline of knowledge for what you need to know. So and this is from someone who has worked at a community college. I was going into this not even necessarily wanting to go to college. So if someone says, and maybe this is from just my point of view, but if someone says you have to go to college to do something, that isn't necessarily true. I do not have a degree, and I'm in this job right now. I have done certifications. You certainly have to have something on paper that says you know what you're talking about, at least a little bit, to get your foot in the door. But I think just showing, at this point in the industry, showing enthusiasm to learn and going out and talking to people wherever you can find them. I don't know what it looks like in different states, but at least in Arizona, the SBE was a good tool for meeting fellow engineers. Just going out and doing that, just doing the steps, that's how you have to look at it and getting into it. And if you want to play with it, there's a lot of tools to start playing with it. I'm sure there's different, in every part of the country, there's probably different organizations that would be fine with having you out just to look at whatever they're doing. Either a tour or as an intern, just asking. Maybe it looks like free labor for a little bit, and maybe it isn't labor, maybe it's just sitting back and watching. But there was a little bit of that mixed into what I've been doing as well. So going out and reaching out to people locally, joining the SBE and certification exams are where I'd start again if I was now getting into this. So,
excellent answer. 15 points. My card. Perfect 10. Fantastic. Dustin, anything you want to add on to this at this point? Or do you feel we've both been upstaged?
A little bit, yeah. Like I said,
you guys are making me blush.
No, you've earned it, my friend. You've earned it.
Totally.
I think anything that we can do, like I said earlier, to kind of pay it forward. As I mentioned, I learned from an old guy. We have to keep this stuff going nowadays, especially when you think about transmitters and antennas. There's some knowledge of that. There's some training out there, but a lot of it is learning from others. And at some point down the road, streaming everywhere, Wi-Fi everywhere, that sort of stuff may kind of eclipse the traditional broadcast stuff. But personally, I don't see that going away. Certainly not in the next decade, maybe not even in the next 20 years. So, kind of keeping that knowledge alive, because a lot of it has all become IP stuff, and there's a lot of cool bits that you can learn about that, as Max has showed us all today. But I think, keeping the camaraderie, keeping our organization strong, just kind of, even if it's just having a drink with your fellow engineers down the street or at another station or something like that. I think the more that we can work together, learn together, break bread together, or whatever cliche you want to use there, the better we're going to be as an industry. And so to meet somebody like Max and to learn a few things from from him and hopefully impart a little wisdom in the other direction, I think has been very beneficial for all of us and for the station he's working at, and I'm sure for all the stations he'll work at in the future. That's assuming he doesn't take over the world and we're all not working for him someday, you know.
I don't know. I think he'd be a pretty good boss.
I just like running things. I don't like the business end of it. I just like doing the tech stuff. So
that's why a lot of us are in this side of exactly the same reason. We're much happier solving the problems, putting it together, maintaining it, running it, designing it, etc., than we are with the daily P&L reports and all that kind of stuff. I'm with you there.
We'll hook you up with a good accountant. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, gosh, this is Max. You're an amazing young man. I'll just go ahead and say it. I hope we're not embarrassing you too much, but I'm really glad we got a chance to talk to you today on the WEBxtra. And I think you've kind of made Dustin's job as a mentor a little bit easier. It sounds like too. So we have that advantage for us.
I'm glad I can come out and talk today. It's been a fun little. I think it's been about 45 minutes, fun little 45-ish minutes so far.
Well, definitely keep us posted on your progress, and when you get that trailer finished, we want to see the final product. If you ever get it finished, as your colleague had said, if.
It's always going to be being worked on for sure. So, sure. And hopefully it evolves into multiple more beautiful broadcast trailers in the future.
Absolutely.
But,
sure.
For now, I'm focusing on the one, and it's been fun.
So, any other final thoughts, closing remarks before we go? Anything I didn't ask about that you think we should touch on real quick? Either one of you.
No, I think we touched on a lot. I would encourage other people to do it. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't take as much time as you think. So, pay it forward. Come on, you want to.
Yep. Good advice. Good advice. Well, again, thanks to both of you. This has been a good episode. I'm pleased you both could join me today. So. I guess I'll go ahead and wrap it up then and say thanks to everybody for watching the SBE WEBxtra, the SBE chapter of the web, from the Society of Broadcast Engineers, the Association for Broadcast and Multimedia Technology Professionals. Thanks again, Dustin Hapli and Max Vokoun, for being our guests. And by the way, if you hold SBE certification, viewing the SBE WEBxtra qualifies you for 1/2 point in Category G. That's attendance. It's just like attending a local chapter meeting. And if you have an idea for a topic or a guest for the SBE WEBxtra, send it to us at webextra@sbe.org. Thanks again for watching. I'm Chris Scher, SBE Member Communications Director, and I'll see you next month.